C'est-à-dire,
Is it okay, Alima, from your end?
oui, oui,
Ok, tu peux y aller.
d'accord. C'est bon. I don't know.
Donc, tu vas me demander de passer, tu peux me demander de passer d'un slide à un autre. Tu présentes slide par slide et puis j'évolue en même temps que toi. Donc,
D'accord.
oui, donc c'est moi qui pilote tes slides.
Ah, c'est en anglais. Ah, d'accord. Ouais. Je peux
Donc,
mettre
tu peux parler en
ma
français.
version. Ah?
Oui, tu peux avoir ton slide français avec toi à côté, sans souci.
Ah, d'accord.
Oui, vu qu'on ne,
Oui.
donc tu peux ouvrir sur ton écran à toi là-bas, il n'y a pas de problème.
D'accord.
Donc, je vais essayer de te suivre et aller de slide en slide.
Mhm. Oui, 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 allô, c'est bon, oui.
C'est OK, Alima?
Oui, c'est bon. Ah, oui, c'est ça. Oui, laissez-moi bien venir. J'arrive un peu.
Donc, tu as ta présentation sous les yeux,
Oui, j'ai ma présentation.
donc tu peux y aller. Vas-y, tout naturellement. On va te suivre avec notre slide ici en anglais.
D'accord. Et bonsoir tout le monde. Donc, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter aujourd'hui la vulnérabilité aux inondations urbaines dans l'arrondissement de Niamey 5 au Niger. Et donc, le Niger fait face, depuis plusieurs décennies, le Niger fait face aux conséquences des changements climatiques, notamment les sécheresses et les inondations. Et la communauté urbaine de Niamey n'échappe pas à ces conséquences. Comment? Donc, deuxième diapo. Oui.
Oui, un instant. Oui, on t'écoute.
Oui. Donc, je fais d'abord la présentation de la ville de Niamey.
D'accord.
C'est bien le diapo que vous avez?
Oui, oui, c'est le même, c'est le même. Allô? Lima, il y a un souci? Alors, j'espère que tu n'as pas coupé ton micro. Oh là là, des soucis de connexion, des soucis de connexion. Alors, I think by waiting uh, the coming back of Alima, maybe we can display. She's back. Alima, you have micro?
Oui.
D'accord. Nous étions sur la présentation de la ville de Niamey. Est-ce que nous avons les mêmes diapositives?
Oui, je suis sur
D'accord.
la présentation de la ville de Niamey. Donc, je
D'accord.
disais, situé dans la partie occidentale du Niger, Niamey existait en tant que village bien avant l'arrivée des Européens. En 1988, la ville de Niamey est devenue communauté urbaine et est subdivisée en 5 communes. Donc, Niamey a une faible altitude, 180 à 250 mètres. La ville est occupée en deux par le fleuve Niger, qui occupe 2 à 6% de sa superficie. La rive droite abrite les quatre arrondissements communaux et la rive gauche, c'est la rive gauche qui abrite les quatre arrondissements communaux et la rive droite abrite l'arrondissement communal Niamey 5. Donc, au niveau de Niamey, nous avons une croissance démographique qui est rapide. La population est estimée à 1,6 million d'habitants en 2026 et près de 40% de la population urbaine du Niger, du pays entier. Donc, le prochain diapo. Je fais d'abord la présentation de l'arrondissement communal Niamey 5. Niamey 5 a une superficie de 40 km². Le climat est aride de type sahélien, une saison sèche d'octobre à mai et une saison pluvieuse de juin à septembre. Les précipitations varient de 300 à 400 mm. La température varie de 17 degrés en janvier à plus de 42 degrés en avril. D'accord. France, vous m'entendez?
Oui, nous te suivons très bien.
D'accord. L'arrondissement communal Niamey 5 a une nappe phréatique peu profonde, ce qui présente un risque d'inondation particulièrement élevé. Donc, diapo suivant, ça parle des causes des inondations. Les inondations à Niamey sont liées aux crues exceptionnelles du fleuve Niger. Et ces crues résultent d'une modification des caractéristiques des écoulements dus au changement climatique et à des facteurs anthropiques. Donc, pour les changements climatiques, ces crues sont provoquées par les fortes pluies enregistrées au niveau local et au Burkina Faso, d'où partent certains bras du fleuve. La configuration topographique du fleuve Niger autour de Niamey exerce aussi ces crues récurrentes. Nous avons de notre côté la forte croissance démographique urbaine. Nous avons aussi la déforestation et mise à nu des sols provoquant un fort encroûtement des surfaces qui favorise le ruissellement vers les rivières et les fleuves, ce qui entrave ainsi l'infiltration dans le sol des eaux des pluies, provoquant la brutalité des crues rouges à Niamey. Donc, une autre cause, c'est la défaillance du réseau d'assainissement de la ville. Donc, on continue?
Oui, nous sommes
D'accord.
avec toi.
Et donc, ces inondations ont des conséquences sur la ville de Niamey et les conséquences des inondations sont d'ordre environnemental et humain. Ces conséquences se traduisent par des pertes en vie humaine et de nombreux déplacés. Par exemple, en 2012, on a enregistré 81 décès et plus de 500 000 personnes déplacées. En 2019, 60 morts et 211 306 personnes sinistrées. En 2024, 300 morts et 700 000 personnes sinistrées. Donc, à part les morts et les sinistrés, il y a aussi l'effondrement des maisons, la destruction des cultures. Et pour ce qui est des cultures, les pertes sont évaluées à 3,2 millions de dollars dans le secteur risicole. Donc, le diapo suivant. Donc, c'est bon?
Oui, nous te suivons très bien.
Oui, donc, avec ces inondations, il y a eu des interventions d'urgence. Les solutions apportées sont d'ordre individuel, nationaux et internationaux. Au niveau individuel, les sinistrés renforcent les digues et mettent des barrières devant leurs maisons, avec des petits murs ou des sacs remplis de sable. Au niveau national, l'État assure la sécurité des personnes et de leurs biens. Il définit les politiques en matière de prévention et de gestion des catastrophes. L'État sensibilise et informe les populations par l'intermédiaire du ministère de l'Action humanitaire et de gestion des catastrophes, du ministère de l'Environnement et du Développement durable, du ministère du Domaine et de l'Habitat, de la Direction de la météorologie nationale, de la cellule de coordination du système d'alerte. Et au niveau international, l'arrondissement communal 5 devient le théâtre d'intervention d'une grande diversité d'ONG humanitaires internationales. Je continue, toujours au niveau des interventions d'urgence, les solutions classiques apportées par l'État et ses ONG. Tout d'abord, avant les inondations, et il y a les curages des caniveaux, les constructions et renforcements des digues, construction des bassins de rétention d'eau, et il y a aussi les sensibilisations. Au moment des inondations, ces interventions consistent à reloger les sinistrés et ensuite à leur porter assistance en biens alimentaires et non alimentaires, comme les moustiquaires, couvertures, ustensiles, produits pharmaceutiques, etc. C'est bon?
Oui, nous te suivons.
Donc, face à ces inondations, au Niger, il y a eu donc la création du ministère de l'Action humanitaire et de la gestion des catastrophes qui supervise le mécanisme national de prévention et de gestion des crises alimentaires. La stratégie nationale de réduction des risques de catastrophes 2019-2030 constitue le cadre global pour la mise en œuvre des activités de réduction des risques de catastrophes dans le pays. La contribution déterminée au niveau national et la politique nationale sur les changements climatiques existent, mais n'occupent pas une place centrale. La loi numéro 2007-28 a créé le Centre national de lutte anti-acridienne avec pour mission de prévenir toute invasion de criquets pèlerins au Niger. Le décret numéro 2018-538 du 27 juillet 2018 définit le code d'alerte. Donc, je continue. Face à ces inondations, donc des solutions de nature peuvent être développées et intensifiées, à savoir la plantation des arbres, la restauration des sols et des forêts dégradées, la création des bandes végétalisées, la protection des zones naturelles. Il existe des financements climatiques, mais les sociétés nationales ne peuvent pas soumettre directement des demandes de financement climatique auprès du Fonds vert pour le climat. Mais elles peuvent néanmoins en être un partenaire de mise en œuvre ou une entité accréditée. Et je suis à la fin de ma présentation. Je vous remercie. Vous m'entendez,
Thank you,
France?
Adina. Thank you for
Oui.
your presentation. Then I will, before any comment and question, I will give the opportunity to Miron to share his screen and display her slide. Miron.
Okay,
Before me moving to the next slide, is it possible to open your camera to make a rapid screenshot? Because I'm currently, yeah. Okay. Let me make a rapid photo group. Miron, can you stop share your screen to allow me make a photo group rapidly? Okay. It's okay. Thank you. Okay, Miron, go ahead.
Okay. I think it's visible for all of you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Can see.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining this regional briefing on one from a case study from the city of Niamey and the other one is from Dredawa, Ethiopia. Before that, I want to introduce myself again if you don't hear me earlier. My name is Meron. I am working currently in university, Addis Ababa University, as academician, as a staff. I do research, particularly on urban forestry, climate change ecosystem services. There are also researches where I engage also to include gender and environmental standards. I am also currently working as research coordinator for Horn of Africa Regional Environment Center, which coordinates 5 East African countries in a project. Saying this, let me start my presentation. These flash flood incidents are very, very common in the city of Dredwa, and it has been the incidence has been increasing from time to time, especially recently, and that has been a very big problem. So this is where we need to take some kinds of proactive action rather than reactive, because the incidents are increasing. If I just inform you about the city of Dredwa, it's located in the eastern Ethiopia, on the edge of East African Valley. And it's located, the city is also, established following the river Chachu, which is passing through the city. And Dredwa is one of the 2 cities in Ethiopia which is chartered after Addis Ababa, which is the capital city of Ethiopia. So that means it's an independent city administrating itself. It's actually a kind of an industrial hub, a transport center where transportation is passing from Djibouti, the neighboring country Djibouti, through Dredwa. So it's an old city, a big city. So it's a very big city in Ethiopia. Its population is currently around 500,000 and expected to increase to 1 million by 2040. As I've said earlier, you can see on the left side on the map, the river is passing directly through the city. So the river has both an opportunity and a risk or a challenge for the city dwellers, also for infrastructures and also natural resources. It as an opportunity, it just gives service as a water access transport corridor. Whereas when you come to the challenge, frequent flooding and also other consequential results from the flooding is a major challenge for the city coming from this river. So when we see the causes of these flash floods for the city, we need to link it to the land use changes through years in the city. These maps, they represent land use changes starting from 1995 until 2022. If we see the changes in 1995, we can see how the vegetation was taking long space in the city. Actually, we don't have the legend here, but I can just explain. The green one and the yellow ones are representing a vegetation, forest, and agricultural land respectively, whereas the black one is showing you the expansion of build-up areas in the city. So starting from 1995 to 2022, we can see how the built-up areas have been increasing very alarmingly at the expense of vegetation land and also agricultural land. And if you see the 2022 map, we can see the agricultural land and the vegetation is also declining, and the bare land is increasing. So this expansion mainly occurred, as I've said, at the expense of farmland, vegetation, and bare land. So currently the urban area or the built-up area covers half of the city land. These maps also shows similarly the land use change at large scale, as watershed level, not only the city, as watershed level. We can see how the urbanization is rapidly increasing, as it is put here in figure. around more than 150% has increased starting from 1985 to 2016. The built-up area has increased by 150%, more than 150%, and bare land is also increasing, also the same percent. There is a significant decline in forest cover, around 50%. Bushland, grassland is increasing, agricultural land is decreasing, and also you can see river vegetation has declined very significantly by around 90%. So we can see how the settlement area is expanding, how the agricultural land is declining, and bare land is increasing. That means the agricultural productivity is also declining at the same time. So the river, if you see the Tajo River, which is passing through the city, on the left side, what you are seeing is a dry river area where during dry season the river is really without any water, but during the rainy season, when especially when is higher amount of rainfall, the water is so full of the river is going to be full, and that's when a flash flood is coming to the city. So if you see the incidents, we can see year after year the incidents are happening. These flash flood incidents are happening again and again. So if you see the figures here on the left side down, you can see how the incident is becoming very frequent and it's appearing in a short period of time again and again. So in 2006, around 250 people were killed, and almost the same amount of people were missing, and most in 10,000 were displaced, and a lot of houses were lost, infrastructure were destroyed. And recently in 2020, there have been reports that it's not much incident, but still people are being affected by this recurrent flooding. So in Dredoa, it's not only the flooding that is the problem. We have also a problem of water scarcity. On the map, you see here on the left side, the points are showing you boreholes, showing that Dredoa city is fully dependent on boreholes. So we don't have surface water in the area for drinking purpose, but fully dependent on borehole, which requires a lot of vegetation cover so that the borehole is replenished and water is available. But as a result of the ongoing degradation due to agricultural expansion, due to built-up area and settlement expansion, the water scarcity is also increasingly becoming challenging for the city dwellers. So this is where the intervention of nature-based solution begins after a lot of challenges in the city. So the project named Scaling Urban Nature-Based Solution for Climate Change, Climate Adaptation in Sub-Saharan Africa. We call it, in short, SANCASA. This project was introduced before 3 years in the area, not only in Dredoa actually. We have 2 more cities. One is Cape Town, the other one is Kigali in Rwanda. In 3 cities, this project was launched with the goal of enhancing climate adaptation, gender equality, and biodiversity protection. And it also focuses on urban communities and locally identified priority challenges. So the approach is to implement gender-responsive nature-based solution for the challenges of flash floods in the area. The organization you are seeing here these are all stakeholders or organizations engaged in the project. So these ones on the left side, they are local-based organization, which includes the city administration, a religious organization, and also a university, Harema University, which is located in the city of Dredawa as well. We have also international organization, Water Resource Institute, and also other organizations which are engaged in this project. Yes. So when we see the intervention was not at city level, but also as a large scale, as a watershed level scale. This scale intervention is very, very important to target the root cause of the problem, not only the frequent incidents of flooding, but also the root cause, which is at watershed level. It really helps to manage cumulative impacts of runoff, erosion, and water flow across the entire landscape, not only on the urban area. It also strengthens ecosystem functioning by restoring connectivity of water, restoring soil and also vegetation system as a watershed level. And also it's when you do as a watershed level, and also when you restore the connectivity of the water and the soil and the vegetation, we can build climate resilient landscape. This is really most effective and long term with the expectation of long term positive impacts. When we see the activities carried out with the Sangasa project, as I've said, it's a nature-based solution approach. So far, they have done afforestation of almost 350 hectares of new forest by planting almost more than 500,000 trees in the degraded areas, following also the river banks. Agroforestry was also another approach, planting not only trees, but also trees with multi-purpose functions, such as fruit trees, medicinal values trees. Urban greening was also part of the intervention, where planting of around 12,000 trees were engaged to reduce the urban heat island in the area. Dredja is one thing I didn't mention. It's a kind of, it's similar to the city of Niamey. It's in hot weather. The area is hot environment. So urban heat island also is another problem. Buffer zones were also restored with establishment of 83 hectares of areas by planting almost 180,000 trees and grasslands in the area. So when you see the results of the intervention, it's only 3 years actually. Now it's at the end of the project. The project is being closing the first phase, I think. And the first result that has been coming from the project is green job opportunities for residents, which includes women and adults. Until now, 7,000 residents are engaged or employed in the project, where 60% are young women and young adults. If we consider this 60% of the employee, most of them, they used to be dependent on the vegetation cover in the area by cutting trees and also preparing charcoal and cutting also the trees and selling firewood. So these are the same people who were responsible for the degradation of the watershed, but now they are engaged in restoring the area by raising seedlings and other related jobs for restoring the degraded area. In terms of ecosystem service benefits, these are the outcome of a result calculated from a model called sustainable asset valuation. They just do an analysis on the model called sustainable asset valuation. This is the result of that. This is actually a prediction for between 2025 and 2050. So according to that, they compared business as usual scenario, which was before the intervention of the project in the area, and also the restored scenario where the nature-based solution was implemented. So according to that, if you look at the carbon storage, they predicted that it's going to be increased by 25% when it's compared to the business as usual environment. Habitat quality will increase almost by 60%. Also, the temperature is going to be expected to decline almost by 1%. And also runoff retention capacity of the area will increase almost by 4%. So this is a very great result that's going to be expected from the intervention of nature-based solution. So this is also economical benefit from the intervention that's going to be expected in the coming 25 years. So if you see here also, overall, almost 200 million of Ethiopian birr, which is an equivalent of 200 million Ethiopian birr, is expected to be gain as economic gain from this intervention. This is calculated based on the avoided flood damage that's going to be incurred if the intervention was not taken. And also employment valuation was also included. Social benefits also were included. Economical, environmental benefits also included. So this is an impressive outcome from this project. When you see also in terms of monetary value, so there will be, of course, operational and maintenance cost, construction and implementation cost. So considering that still the analysis shows that there will be a benefit on the overall costs of this intervention from reduced flood damage and also from human health point of view, which is differentiated from pollution, floods, and urban heat island. From carbon sequestration, employment creation, overall, the assessment shows that there will be an overall positive outcome from this intervention. So when we see why this project is already showing a positive outcome in being efficient and successful, we can just see some points here. The first one is the nature-based solution approach is integrated, which considers agroforestry, afforestation, and riparian restoration, and urban tree planting in the area. It also targets multiple climate risks that includes floods, water pollution, and extreme heat. The other strong point of this intervention is a consideration of stakeholder collaboration, which includes the government on the local level, communities on the ground level, and also partners, universities, and international organizations. And also inclusive beneficiary targeting, where it accommodates the very vulnerable group of the society, which are mostly the women and the youth in the area. The intervention, as I mentioned it earlier, is at watershed level, which is really a holistic approach, focusing to just tackle the root cause rather than considering, on a small scale. There is also continuous follow-up and management in the area. The communities are actively engaged. So the organization is also in continuous contacting. That means the WRI or World Resource Institute is the one implementing this project. They are really in close collaboration with the communities, university. So there is a close and continuous follow-up for the project. One thing that is really important is they used evidence-based savvy methodology to show that there will be a continuous benefit coming out of this intervention, so that the people can just keep working on that to just benefit from the continuous benefits of this intervention. So still, there will be key challenges and risks. For sure, the population is going to increase. It's going to be 1 million by 2040. So there might be some encroachments of settlement area to the river banks. There will be some water scarcity and drought as the climate keep changing. Soil erosion and soil fertility might be one risk, and flash floods will be continue if the work is not continuing as the current effort. So in summary, we can see that this intervention is played a very good role. Also, is going to also play a very good role in reducing flood risks, and also a lot of environmental benefits, strong economic return because people are being employed in the area, also climate mitigation by reducing urban heat island in the area, and also still livelihood and job creation will be the beneficial outcome of this project. I end up my presentation here. Thank you. If there is any question, I will just give feedback on that one.
Thanks so much, Maren. That was a great presentation. Super fantastic.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from any of the participants in the audience? And otherwise, Franz and I can also ask a few. So many great thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Miron. Thank you, Miron, Alima. Merci, Alima. Merci, Miron. Thank you for this fantastic presentation. It was very fantastic. And it's evidence-based of that we can turn disaster in opportunity when I see your presentation, Sonkasa project. Right. And the first question in my mind is why may we replicate this kind of project? Because I see how the three pillar, economic, environmental, social pillar are integrated. And I think it's just the ideal. In French, we say l'idéal. It's a model. And another common observation is about another pillar who is hidden, the politic pillar, because the decision makers play a key role in putting in place this kind of project or put in place a vision aiming to turn the disaster in opportunity. And it's a reason for that, for me, politic pillar play a key role. And this is what I observe in the Niamey case, where decision maker, it seems like the priority are given to urgency, not to long-term action or to long-term intervention, such as in Didawa. The priority is given to urgency, and I'm aware about the political situation of a country such as Niger, who face important insecurity issues, terrorism. So I think it's also normal that decision makers give priority to security, to address what could be addressed now, to address immediate need of population. So my question is, if I have a question, is about what pre-requirement do you put in place to get all these partners? Because I think it's not easy to gather all many partners in one project such as Sonkasa. What makes Jidawa different from other cities to be able to get the benefit, to get opportunity to put in place this kind of project of large quest code project? Yeah.
May I start responding, or do I?
Yeah, you can respond.
Okay. Thank you, Franz, for your question. I think if I understand your first question very well, what about the political pillar in this project? So if also I go to my slide here, I think I have mentioned that there is in the collaboration of the stakeholders, there are also stakeholders representing the local government. If you see this one, I'm not sure if you can just see my pointer, but the city administration is in the center of this project. Actually, one thing very interesting from the city of Dredwa is the mayor is really very aware of this climate risk and issues in the area. The flooding incident is very common in the area. It's always in the news. So the problem is obviously there. And as I've said, the climate risk is increasing, the flooding incidents, the water scarcity is there. So the city government is ready to tackle that problem. So when such projects are coming, so they are welcoming with open hand, because that's where the problem and this nature-based solution approach is meeting. So it was really welcoming. So actually, the mayor of the city, he is one of the awardees, I think, internationally, because he is very willing and aware to just accept such kinds of projects and running it very well to tackle these cities, this problem. So the political pillar is very, very strong. Also, faith-based organizations are also involved, where a lot of people can be addressed through that, because in Ethiopia people are really more attached with their religion, for their faith. So if it comes through religion organization, you can really accommodate a lot of people, almost the population in the community. So the university is also there. So there is a strong political willingness and also community level willingness. The other question is why radar. I think I have already said it, because it's very vulnerable for water scarcity and flash floods in the area. So thank you. I hope I respond your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. But I would like to know, is it the political status of the Dawa? Because in your slide, or I don't know where I see it, the city have the status of shattered city. So the city have a particular autonomy. I don't know.
Yes.
I can. So is it an advantage for the city by getting a lot of autonomy to decide to pilot his own biodiversity or climate policy, I think it may be an advantage, or
Yes, sure, you are right. Yes, because they are independent. They are not expecting any regional authority to decide for them. So that's why they are powerful. So the mayor can decide. The mayor and his team can decide to engage with such kinds of projects and any other decisions. So yeah, I think that's also an advantage.
Yeah, let me say something in French. Oui, Alima, pour t'inclure davantage dans l'échange que j'ai eu avec Méron, mon propos était au sujet du pilier politique, puisque nous avons vu dans sa présentation comment le projet Sonkatsa, visant à renforcer la résilience climatique de la ville de Diedawa, a pu vraiment mettre en avant les trois piliers du développement durable, à savoir le pilier politique, le pilier économique, social et environnemental. Et donc, j'étais en train de la relancer un peu sur un autre pilier qui n'est pas assez analysé, à savoir le pilier politique. Et nous voyons qu'avec une décentralisation très poussée, très avancée, c'est quasiment une cité indépendante, les autorités parviennent à choisir, à décider d'eux-mêmes les options qui sont idéales pour leur ville. Est-ce que tu es là, Alima?
Oui,
Are you
je
there?
suis là, j'écoute.
Oui. Donc, je voulais te relancer au sujet de ta présentation. Je voudrais savoir quelles sont les pesanteurs qui empêchent les autorités de mettre en place, d'exécuter les plans nationaux de développement de la biodiversité ou de renforcement de la résilience climatique et qui peuvent les permettre d'avoir accès aux financements internationaux, puisqu'il y a un problème visiblement dans l'accès de la ville de Niamey et du pays en général aux financements internationaux. Quels sont les problèmes que les autorités rencontrent dans la mise en place de ces plans-là?
Bon, tout d'abord, je dirais que comment dirais-je, le gouvernement fait beaucoup d'efforts. Par exemple, suite aux inondations et les aides que les ONG amènent. Et des fois, c'est comment distribuer ces aides. Des fois, les aides arrivent, mais le problème, c'est les gens que le gouvernement met en place pour distribuer ces aides. Donc, c'est ces gens-là qui bloquent les aides. Donc, des fois, vraiment, le
Oui.
gouvernement arrive à avoir des aides, mais c'est la façon, la distribution qui n'est pas garantie au niveau des
La
sinistres.
gestion,
La
oui, au
gestion,
niveau des sinistrés. Mais
oui,
ça, c'est au niveau vraiment des situations d'urgence. Sinon,
oui.
d'après les grands documents comme la contribution nationale déterminée ou le plan national de changement climatique qui dresse les plans, qui lance un peu des projets à long terme pour renforcer la résilience des populations. N'y a-t-il pas des projets comme Adidawa? Et s'il y en a pas ou peu, qu'est-ce qui peut expliquer le fait qu'on donne davantage de priorité sur les situations d'urgence plutôt que sur des projets à long terme, comme le projet
Hmm,
Soulkassa? Qu'est-ce
ok,
qui
les
pourrait expliquer
projets,
cela?
d'accord. Les projets à long terme aussi, ça existe au Niger. Par
D'accord.
exemple, moi, il y a un projet qu'on appelle le projet RILS qui intervient dans une zone qu'on appelle Sinopara, qui est tout près de Niamey. Donc là-bas, on est en train de restaurer les sols dégradés à Sinopara. Donc,
Oui,
et ça ne manque pas. Je vous ai parlé que j'ai fait mes travaux de thèse. J'ai reboisé un site au niveau d'un site qu'on a. Et j'ai reboisé un site au niveau d'une commune qu'on appelle Simri. Donc là aussi, il y a des reboisements qui sont en train d'être faits. Donc, ces reboisements sont assurés par le PAM. Donc, il y a des projets à
oui,
long terme, un peu partout
d'accord,
dans le Niger. Oui.
d'accord, d'accord.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, as Alima said, there is also long-term projects such as in Jirdawa, in Niamey. There is also a long-term project aiming to restore forest and soil, because as you may know, or as you know, there is a strong relationship between uh, flooding and forest degradation and forest and soil degradation as well. So there's project, but the country are challenging to get access to climate finance in international level because of misusing of public aid giving. Maybe it's a common issues in our country, but there is also a long-term project, and the main project put on the field focus on the tree planting, such as in Dirdawa. And I would like to introduce the research of Alima, the current research. As I said, it's she have a PhD in microbiology, and I think is it possible for Alima to in few seconds present the main aspect of his research. Alima, est-ce que tu as le résumé en anglais que tu m'as envoyé tout à l'heure?
Bon, le résumé en
Tu l'as sous
anglais.
les yeux?
Non, non, je ne l'ai pas sous les yeux.
Okay, I would like to take a few seconds to present Alima's research, recent research focused in the forest or soil restoration by using the mycorrhiza, who is a fungi. I'm not a biologist, but I will try to draft or to present the main aspect of this research. Because tree planting is not just plant a tree, but it consists to plant the right tree at the right place and at the right moment. So the current research of Alima aiming um, to enhance the capacity of tree species to restore the soil. So It's a very, very interesting research, and I hope Alima will get the opportunity to talk about in other platform and so on. So, is there any other question or comment? Maybe Chairman?
Thank you. And thank you to both presenters. Those were really inspiring presentations. I really enjoyed them. My question, it's sort of for both of you, but more focused for Miran. What plans do you have in place for maintenance of the trees going forward? So you have a 3-year funding cycle for this project, but trees take more than 3 years to establish and often need some maintenance, watering or pruning or what have you going forward. How are you planning to do that? Because that's often we find a challenge in South Africa is that long-term maintenance of an urban forest. Thank you.
So may I respond?
Please.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you. Okay. Thank you, Charmaine, for your really relevant question. Yeah, this is really a question of sustainability for the project, actually. If you take this planting trees is very common, especially in Ethiopia. So we have this campaign called Green Legacy Campaign, where we plant trees every rainy season in billions of trees always reported, but if all the trees were grown, I think Ethiopia will be covered fully with a forest. But the problem is what you raise now with your question. It's sustainability, it's growth, where the challenge is there. So with the Sankasa project, there are lots of approaches have been taken to just make sure that the trees are grown to seedlings, saplings, and also full mature tree. One approach is where the green employment job created, where this 60% of women are being involved, young people are being involved, and they have been the one cutting the trees, but now they are the one following the nurseries. There are a lot of nursery sites in the city and around the city where continuous seedlings are being supplemented for the plantation seasons. So these employees, their job is not only to follow for the seedling, but also the plantations already planted in different landscapes in the area. So they are responsible for these silvicultural processes and activities, pruning the trees, watering the plants. So they have been employed for such purposes. It's not only the employees that are following this, but also the community. They are engaged in just protecting these trees in religions, and also in some groups they are arranged in groups so that they follow the growth of these trees. So because the Dredwa city administration is also involved, even if the project funding period is ending, the mayor and also the administrative unit of the city, they are engaged, and they are also allocating some budget to follow up these initiatives. So these are some of the activities that have been implemented for the sustainability of the trees and other initiatives. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, that's great. I guess I have one more question about I guess the consortium or the group that came together, and how did that come about? Was it started from the city, from WRI side? Was it kind of a mutual collaboration? And then also for Halimatu, like if there are also similar, I know you said nature-based solutions programs happening in Niamey as well. What kind of constellation of actors or people have come together and how did it work? So.
So if I start, up to the project initiatives comes from the WRI, World Resource Institute. They have an office in Addis Ababa, in the center of the city. So when the project comes for the three regional cities, one is Cape Town actually. I think you are residing now in Cape Town. Yeah. So one is Cape Town, one is Kigali, Rwanda, and one is Dredor. I think they have similar this climate related challenges, which is flashing floods and other related problems. So they bring the initiatives. So they start engaging the local, the city administration, the local communities, the university. So they are the one initiating everything, but the others were very proactive to be engaged and work together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can traduire in French. Oui, justement, Julie était en train de demander à Méron, si j'ai bien entendu, t'as dit qui sont ceux qui pilotent le projet de Sungkasa et donc c'est un mix d'institutions qui sont représentées aussi à l'échelle internationale dans plusieurs pays. Elle a cité le Rwanda, elle a cité l'Afrique du Sud et aussi l'Éthiopie. Bon, ce que je remarque, c'est qu'il y a tout de même une sorte de barrière dans la répartition des projets. It seems like there is sort of a barrier. I would not want to fall in a sort of what can I say? There is a sort of barrier between francophone and anglophone area concerning the repartition of the project. It seems like anglophone area have more facilities to put in place some very complex projects than francophone area. So I think we have to try to overcome this challenge and to aim to allow other francophone cities to have the capacity to put in place some very complex project and build the climate resilience. Yeah. So there is there other question? Okay.
May I ask one more, please? For Meron.
Right.
The communities who previously were cutting firewood or cutting trees for firewood, and are now growing trees, which is an amazing turnaround. But where are they getting their fuel from now? Has there been any separate project to try and replace energy sources? Or how have you got around that? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Again, very important question. Yes, because only planting trees and engaging them means that would not solve, these energy requirements of the city, where many people actually are dependent on biomass for their energy sources. So parallelly, the project is working on supplementing these energy saving stoves for households that are dependent on biomass, and also engaging people with electric appliances. Most of these people who are dependent on biomass energy sources. They don't have the ability to buy these electric appliances, so the project is supporting them in accessing those appliances so that they use electric sources, and also introducing solar panels in the area, in the household. So it's a kind of mix. It's only 3 years, but there are such kinds of initiatives so that to reduce the people's dependence on biomass usage for energy as energy sources. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Miron. I'm very interested by your response because we cannot use a unique source of energy such as biomass. I think we have to make a mix of solutions such as use electric, solar. I think your country have the most big hydropower station, the Renaissance Dam or the Rebirth Dam, I think. It's operational, I think. And
Yes.
it's a very important source of energy for your country and beyond, maybe. So, I think we can move from another point. Regarding the time, I don't know if there is an announcement. Dr. Chairman, do you have an information or
Nothing
an event
from me today, thank you.
us? Okay, thank you. So I don't think that we will share update regarding the time. Any other comment before wrap up? Alima?
Oui,
Alima, es-tu là?
oui, je suis là.
Donc, nous allons mettre un thème à cette rencontre qui est enregistrée et qui sera partagée à ceux qui n'ont pas pu être là et bien d'autres. Donc, même si la participation n'était pas assez courue, le document est enregistré. Nous allons partager les présentations avec la communauté et nous espérons vous retrouver très, très bientôt. Vous êtes déjà un membre de la communauté UBIOP et qui sait, on pourra vous proposer d'éventuels projets de collaboration, peut-être avec la cité de Dire Dawa, on ne sait jamais, vu qu'il y a déjà un contact indirect. So I'm looking I'm look forward for a great collaboration, maybe between Niamey city of Niamey and Dire Dawa. I don't know. We will see how we can build collaboration between these different cities. Why not with city of Cape Town, with Cape Town? So I would like to thank Dr. Chairman for his attendance, and also say thank you for the presenters, Miron, our new colleague, and Dr. Alima from Niamey. I hope to see you soon. So have a nice evening or a nice afternoon where you are. So I will end. Julie, can you stop the record?
The recording, yep.
The recording, yeah.
There we go.